Fires on the West Coast, drought in the Southwest, tornadoes in the Midwest, and hurricanes in the South. Extreme weather, the result of climate change, is all around us and has far-reaching consequences. But are we considering everything there is to the climate problem? What about what's right under our feet? The truth is that seemingly insignificant substance we call dirt is home to a vast variety of microbial life that has allowed for the planet's fertility. This soil ecosystem has created a productive and nutrient-rich environment that has allowed for the success of agriculture and civilization. The vast variety of microbial life that makes this delicate biological network possible take on a multitude of roles, from decomposing plant wastes to getting nutrients to the above-ground life that they support. Predatory protozoans also prowl this vast soil habitat of pores and grains, keeping these microbes in check. But this, to me, amazing and complex soil ecosystem does a lot more than just provide for our planet's fertility. It also plays a key role in regulating the atmosphere's CO2 concentration. You see, the ability of these microbes to convert the Earth's bounty into agricultural success comes at a price: the emission of large amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere each year as sugars are converted into energy. Before the Industrial Revolution, this emission of CO2 was pretty much unaffected by human activity. It's simply serving to help maintain the natural greenhouse effect that keeps our planet habitable. However, as we began to emit more and more CO2 into our atmosphere, and we continue to change our climate, delicate connections in soil biological networks begin to break apart. The results can be decreased nutrient and water availability in soils that makes it harder for microbes to survive. As a result, they have to put out more CO2 as they put out more energy, and their carbon use efficiency declines. The decline in this important parameter becomes very important when you consider the scale of CO2 emissions. So, on our globe, carbon is pretty much cycled like this. Let's think about what we do in the carbon cycle. Consider the mass of every human on Earth. That seems like a lot. Now think about how much CO2 we put into the atmosphere each year from some of these things. Turns out we emit 40 billion tons of CO2 into our atmosphere every year. That's 82 times the mass of us. But microbes emit even more, 60 billion tons of carbon. That's not even including the oxygen and CO2. And the worst part about this is those microbes have access to 2.3 trillion tons of carbon within soils worldwide. That's 30 times the mass of all biomass on Earth. So the next time you walk out into your front yard and stand on that freshly trimmed grass, you're standing on a carbon pool that is tied to the fate of our climate. So it certainly seems like these are reasons to care about dirt, but what can we do to help the world's carbon managers? That has been the subject of my research on soil over the past 2 years. At first, when I did science fair projects on climate change, I just barely scratched the surface of this complex phenomenon, just seeing what was going on, what was making all this happen. But I became more curious about everything that climate change does to our planet. And when I became aware of these soil ecosystems, I realized that a solution to the climate problem must include a discussion of these frankly less expected systems. My research, because of this, I conducted an experiment in which I added different materials to soil that were able to improve its nutrient and water holding capacity, while at the same time making better homes for these microbes. And I found that some of these materials were able to improve the conditions for these microbial communities. They had better access to nutrients. Some of them grew faster. And with continued research and field testing, I believe that I may be able to see increases in carbon use efficiency. But these efforts alone do not provide the necessary understanding we need to solve the soil part of our climate problem. My idea worth spreading is that a discussion of climate change and how to fix it must include a discussion of everything that the phenomenon affects, including these less well-known and frankly unexpected and sometimes even silly-sounding systems in dirt. Further, because of the vast impact of these microbial communities, if we are able to figure out how to improve their carbon use efficiency, part of the solution to the climate problem may be right under our feet.